So a formal welcome to everyone, and good to see many of you have joined in. So let me introduce myself and also my organization. I'm Amitabh Saxena, and I'm a chemical engineer, and I did my MBA Finance. And after that, after working for 10 years in the quality industry and quality profession, I joined KPMG and I started their process excellence and Six Sigma practice. After spending some 2 3 years there, I went on to join AXA, an insurance company, and then uh, once I came to know about the importance of the quality and especially the Lean and Six Sigma initiatives, I started the Lean and Six Sigma consulting company and quality process excellence company in Copenhagen in the year 2016. And since then, we have been consulting for lots of organizations around the world. And we'll be conducting lots of training programs in quality and especially in Lean and Six Sigma. I conducted the first ever Lean and Six Sigma Green Belt and Black Belt training program in GCC. That was the that was the first program conducted by anyone in GCC. So I proudly tell about this to everyone whenever I meet. Let me also introduce you to the organization, and also as people are still joining in, I will share some of the photographs of our training programs. So since 2006, we have been enabling the individuals and organizations to achieve excellence. And some of the programs, I have done worldwide. So this is London training, National Healthcare Service in UK. They are our clients. We have done. This is my first batch. Yes, this was the first ever batch of in Lean and Six Sigma Black Belt in 2008 in Riyadh, which I conducted, and this was done in King Khalid Eye Specialist Medical Hospital, KKESH, and a lot of people from other hospitals had also attended this training. This is Novartis, a pharmaceutical company in Switzerland, and this is a Chinese hospital. So where I conducted the CPHQ and Black Belt trainings. If you see the CPHQ, around 60 to 70% of the training is related to process excellence like data analytics, healthcare data analytics, and this is widely covered in the Lean and Six Sigma methodology. So when I came to know about this, and many people who had already done CPHQ or who were trying to appear for the exam and who were trying to pass the examination, they told me that the Lean Six Sigma Green Belt and Black Belt training program really helped them to crack the examination. So then I looked at the CPHQ syllabus, and I found that because of this huge overlap, this it will be a good idea to share the knowledge with the healthcare professionals also. So quality in every profession, not only in healthcare, every profession is almost the same. So this made me venture into CPHQ and from the Lean Six Sigma. And for the last around 11 years, I've been conducting the program for healthcare professionals. We have won lots of awards in the whole process. We have got uh, different ministers, health ministers of various countries like UAE, like the in India, in Vietnam, in Saudi Arabia. Our programs have been attended by health ministers. We have appeared on TV programs also, and spoken in various quality conferences like American Society of Qualities and IQPC, etc., worldwide conferences. Although I have got videos, but just to show
On
you some of
21st
the
of May
videos if you want to see.
2019, I'm going to speak in American Society of Quality's World Conference in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm going to talk about how one of the fields in artificial intelligence.
By the way, I'm also helping Ministry of Health in Saudi Arabia to in the robotic process surgery implementation, and so just wanted to talk about these things in a short way, in briefly. Maybe I'll also, show you one a slide which has Minister of Saudi Arabia also talking about our training program. Maybe towards the end, I will do that. And in a video, we have got a video credential from Dr. Tarif Alama as well. Okay, so let me tell you first what is CPHQ. So CPHQ is a Certified Professional for Healthcare Quality. It's an exam conducted by NAHQ, National Accreditation for Healthcare Quality in US, and it has got uh, it has got a good membership of around 15,000 means healthcare professionals, and it is the only organization that certifies professionals in the field of healthcare quality with the CPHQ. CPHQ incorporates the body of knowledge in the healthcare quality professional, which includes strategic and operational roles in the management and leadership. It also talks about information management, data analytics, and performance quality measurement and improvements, and planning, implementation, and evaluation, and also patient safety. So these are the four major topics. Why earn a CPHQ? So we do conduct, of course. First of all, why we came into CPHQ. So I was conducting training programs in Lean Six Sigma and project management, which are highly correlated areas. And when I used to conduct a lot of Lean Six Sigma training programs in healthcare, and then people told me that CPHQ has got a heavy component of statistics, and it will help them if we can take those sessions. When we started conducting those sessions, the passing percentage of our students drastically improved, and that motivated us to start these training programs. So uh, we are happy to tell you that the passing percentage of our students is very, very high, and we just we tell you how to pass the examination also during our sessions. Today the purpose is not to tell you a lot of tricks and techniques, but also to learn some real tools and techniques. So those who are appearing for the CPHQ examination, it will help them to learn these tools and techniques, and they can confidently pass the examination. This will help you to improve your career. It will also help you to choose your career, a new career in quality if you prefer to. It can also give you, not only, see, even if you don't want to shift to a career in quality, but it's an added qualification which is always valued by all the hospitals. Okay. So generally, it's an exam which comprises of 140 questions. 125 of these questions are used in computing the score, and 15 questions are pre-test questions. Means you are not being scored on these questions, and but you don't know which questions are pre-test questions and which are scoring questions. You have to answer all the 140 questions. It is multiple choice questions, and from 4 topics. So I'll be describing all the 4 topics, and I'll be telling you what is contained in these topics. And then the most difficult topics of CPHQ, that is healthcare data analytics. I'll be taking you through some of the tools and techniques, which not only, even you are not interested in CPHQ examination, but still you can use these tools and techniques in your hospital right from tomorrow. So tomorrow or day after tomorrow, whenever you go to the hospital, you can always start using these tools and techniques which you are going to learn today to improve the quality of your processes. So, of course, if you are interested in CPHQ examination, this will help you to pass the examination as well. Okay, so I would not talk too much about the examination part because better to learn better more than talking about too much about examinations, and all these details are definitely related to the exams. Nowadays, the exam is online, and you can always appear for this examination online, sitting at your home, and usually it is done once in every quarter. Okay, so over the period of over the window of 10 days every quarter, the examination is conducted. CPHQ examination is conducted. Okay. Okay. So let us see how the CPHQ examination looks like. What are the topics which need to be covered in CPHQ examination? So this is the syllabus given by NAHQ, certified professional in healthcare quality, the detailed content outline. There are 4 topics, as I told you: organizational leadership. Let me give you a summary first. The organizational leadership. Of course, not to forget that if you pass the examination, you can add CPHQ as with your name on letterheads, business cards, everywhere. Apart from, of course, the respect you'll be getting in the healthcare domain. So, organizational leadership, 28% of the questions are related to organizational leadership. Health data analytics, around 24% questions are devoted. And remaining is given to performance or quality measurement and improvement, that is 32%, and 16% is patient safety. So what we have seen is no one fails in the first section, that is organizational leadership, and the last section, that is patient safety. If you have worked in the healthcare organization for at least maybe 1 year or 1 to 2 years, you know enough about uh, the patient safety, and you must have undergone a lot of training regarding patient safety. So the questions related to patient safety can be easily answered. Then organizational leadership, they are generic questions. If you know the theory part of leadership styles, etc., then easily you can pass this examination also. But mostly the people find it difficult to pass the health data analytics part, that is 24%, and the 32%, that is performance quality measurement. So this comprises, if you can see, of approximately 60% of the total questions. So this 60 to 65% of the total questions, which are a little difficult, I'll be touching upon some of the knowledge areas, and we'll be learning some healthcare data analytics tools and some of the uh, process improvement tools which are required for you to know so that you can pass the examination successfully. So taking you to the detailed topics first. So first, let me talk about the organizational leadership, and the first one and the last one, that is patient safety. Now, these are very simple topics. As I said, very rarely anyone fails in these simple topics. So, but let us do the easier one first, but I'll quickly finish them. Means I will not spend too much time on it. Maximum time I'll be devoting to the difficult portions. The first thing is organizational leadership. Organizational leadership, which is the first topic, has structure and integration, regulatory accreditation and external recognition, and education, training, and communication. The 3 areas. In the first one, structure and integration, support organizational commitment to quality. So the quality needs to be supported by the senior management. When the quality needs to be supported by the senior management, then only it is successful. If you cannot, if you don't have the support from the senior management, naturally any of the quality initiative fails. Same is true with uh, same is true for the healthcare professionals as well. So they have to and get the engagement from the senior management. So how to get that engagement? Uh, some of the uh, some of the tools and techniques are described in this chapter. Senior management have to participate in the organization-wide strategic planning related to quality, and not only in talks, but also they should walk the talk. That means they should frame the appropriate policies, they should show the appropriate, uh, they should be able to allocate appropriate funds, and also they should participate in the meetings related to quality. So aligning the quality and safety activities with the strategic goals of the healthcare or the hospital. So you need to align as a senior management, you have to include quality as the one of the top priorities in the strategic goals of the organization. Then engaging the stakeholders to promote quality and safety. So some of the tools and techniques, stakeholder analysis, uh, etc., are covered in this area. And after that, providing the consultative support to the governing body. So, as per Dr. Edward Deming, who was the quality guru, who used to say that all the errors and all the defects, uh, the root cause of all the errors and all the defects are, due to the policies and the systems. And the systems and policies is the responsibility of the senior management. So senior management is responsible for all the defects or quality errors in the organization. So taking a clue from that, you have to facilitate the development of quality structures, and it starts with the governing body. The senior management responsibility is critical here. So we talk about senior management's responsibility in terms of credentialing, privileging, and risk management. Then assisting in evaluating or developing data management systems so that the quality management systems can be supported. Then evaluating and integrating the external best practices, participating in activities to identify and evaluate innovative solutions and practices, and then leading and facilitating the change. So we learn how to manage the change, different change related theories, and also we understand how the change can be managed in the hospital. So all of these are covered in the CPHQ training. Participating in the population health promotion and continuum of care activities, then communicating resource needs to leadership to improve the quality. So staffing, adequate staffing should be ensured, and recognizing the quality initiatives impacting the reimbursement. So all these things are very, very critical and important with respect to the structure and integration. The first thing is in the organizational leadership, you have to create a proper structure so that quality can be integrated in the hospital. So that is the first thing. The second thing, again, related to leadership only, and that is the main responsibility of the leadership. What is that? Regulatory, getting your accreditation like JCI, etc. So assisting the organization in maintaining awareness of statutory and regulatory requirements. Every country has got some statutory and regulatory requirements. NAHQ being the US organization, so part of the US related statutory requirement are mentioned here. Then how to assist with the survey or accreditation readiness, the whole process or the roadmap of the accreditation for the uh, organization, like for example JCI. If you are from India, then let's NABH. If you are from Saudi, Sibahi, etc. So all the whole the roadmap of how will you get your hospital accredited is also covered in this syllabus. So here you learn how to participate in the process for evaluating compliance with the internal and external requirements for clinical practice guidelines and pathways, service quality, documentation, practitioner performance evaluation, gaps in patient experience outcomes, and facilitate communication with the accrediting and regulatory bodies. So that is what is covered in the second part. The second part in the organization leadership is regulatory accreditation and external recognition. The third one, in the again organizational leadership, we are in the first topic, organizational leadership. So what is covered in organizational leadership? The third part is education, training, and communication, because without that, you cannot ensure that quality is present in each and every department of the organization. So you have to train all the staff, so design performance process and quality improvement training, provide education and training on performance process and quality improvement, and ensuring effective culture of quality. For that, some little bit of cultural change might be needed. So that is also covered in this. Also, you have to evaluate once you are conducting a training, you have to evaluate the effectiveness of the training. And you have to, you should be able to develop or provide survey preparation for the training, and disseminate the performance, process, and quality improvement information within the organization through education, training, and communications. So all these are covered under the organizational leadership, because the leadership of the organization is responsible for this. So creating a structure so that quality can be integrated in the hospital, learning about the regulatory accreditation and the whole accreditation roadmap, and then of course education, training, and communication, so that knowledge of quality is uh, available throughout the organization. Then coming, before I come to the difficult part, so that part anyway we will be spending around 1.5 hours, the second and third part. So before I come that, let me finish the easier one, which I'll just quickly tell you the topics, and then we'll move on to studying the healthcare data analytics and the process improvement methodologies. So patient safety. So how to assess the organization's culture of safety, and how to ensure FMEA is a tool, failure modes and effects analysis. If time permits, I will train you in FMEA as well. This is the last word here. It's mentioned failure modes and effects analysis. So ensuring first you ensure the assessment of the risk is done for all the critical processes, and using different tools and techniques, and most common of them is FMEA. So I'm sure I will get time to teach you FMEA as well. But first I will try to focus on the data analytics part. And yeah, so assessment and planning, and then implementation and evaluation. So facilitating the ongoing evaluation of safety activities, integrating the safety concepts throughout the organization, and using safety principles. So all these things are covered in the patient safety. So let us look at the most difficult part, and that's what is the focus of today's training. So I'll be taking you through some of the tools and techniques mentioned here. And before I do that, let me very quickly take you through give you an overview of these topics. So second topic is health data analytics. So here you understand designing and design and data management. So first, it talks about the confidentiality of your data, which is very important, and then designing the data collection plan. So how to collect the data, the tools and techniques. Very quickly, like when you are collecting the data, let me tell you there are four sampling techniques available. a simple random, stratified random, then uh, subgroup sampling. So it depends on different types of which sampling technique is appropriate for our samples. So you have to decide about data sampling techniques and make a data collection plan, proper data collection plan, and participating. What should be your sample size? So we'll learn about there are two types of data: continuous and attribute. So continuous data, the sample size is around 30 to 50, and for attribute data, the sample size is around 300 or 200 to 1100. We will I will describe that a little bit after I finish with the overview. So participating in identifying or selecting the measures, what to measure, and structure, process, and outcome. We also call it as SIPOC, supplier input, process, output, and customer. So Donna Bedian in healthcare, he brought in the concept of systems mapping through structure, process, and outcomes. Uh, the structure, process, and outcome, if I want to show you, uh, maybe I will uh, take an example. Once we start learning, I'll take an example of structured processing output. Or rather than that, let me try to show you if I can do it right away. So this is we call it as structure, process, and outcomes. So in quality, whenever we are trying to improve any process, the first thing what you do is understanding the structure, process, and outcomes. And the tool which we use is known as SIPOC, supplier input, process, and output, and customers. So suppose if you're trying to reduce the patient waiting time in a hospital. So in this case, first you have to identify who's the customer. So in this case, you have identified the customer as the patient. What is the output of the process? And obviously, the process here is the patient treatment process. Process is the patient treatment process. So we have got the steps of the basic steps. We're talking about the high level map of the process. So basic 5 to 6 steps of the process are mentioned. And then what are the inputs? And then who are the suppliers of these inputs? So these structure, process, and outcomes need to be identified. Why? Because your outcomes are dependent on the processes and inputs. So your outcomes are dependent on the processes and input. And if you want to improve something in the output, and mostly the customer is interested in improving the outputs. But I can't improve the outputs directly. I need to look at the inputs and processes, and looking at the input and processes only can improve my processes. So that's what we call it as. That's what is mentioned here is structure, process, outcomes. So participate in identifying or selecting the measures. So measures for both your outputs and structures and processes. So don't think only about measuring the outputs. Although output measures are important, they are the results measures. But equally important are the input and process measures. So how to measure them, we will also see in a short while. So continuing with the overview, let me take you through the overview one more, a little bit more. So here, assisting in developing the scorecards and dashboards. I also give you a little bit of overview of balanced scorecard, although as such balanced scorecard is not covered in the NHQ examination or CPHQ examination, but we give you a little bit of exposure to that because most of the philosophy of the balanced scorecard is very much there in the healthcare data analytics. So how to develop the scorecards, how to develop the dashboards, identifying the external data sources for comparison, the benchmarking, collecting and validating the data, measurement and analysis, like using the measurement systems, using the tools like Pareto, run charts, scatter diagram, control charts. So I will be taking you through all the tools today in the today's training. I'll be conducting training on Pareto, run charts, scatter, and control chart. Then We'll also know statistics to describe the data like mean, standard deviation, correlation, t-test. So we'll cover all of them. T-test, maybe briefly I will cover if possible. Then what is common cause and special cause? I will be covering that. And I will be also covering some of the how to get the measures, how to measure everything. You can't improve if you cannot measure. And the second rule is you can measure everything. That's what I keep telling. And I'm not telling. In fact, Dr. Edward Deming, a quality guru, used to say that. So we'll see how to measure everything as well. We'll develop the measures. Then I'll give you some hints. I'll give you some tricks to establish measures, especially the KPIs, right? Then performance and process improvement. So some of the topics I'll be covering. So here, facilitating development of action plans, PDCA, Lean, Six Sigma. So I will give you a very, very brief overview. But if you want to get a detailed overview of Lean and Six Sigma and PDCA, I have got another training. It is known as Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt Training. It's a 2-hour program where I have given you and I have taken an example of a hospital, and I've shown you an improvement project in the hospital also in that particular training. So you can go through that training whenever you get time, and my team will be putting that link, the Yellow Belt training link, which you can always at your leisure watch that, and that will give you a detailed information of Lean and PDCA and Six Sigma. If time permits, I will talk about that also today. But my main focus is on the basics of statistics, and then after that, I will take you through some of the advanced tools of statistics. Towards the end, I will show you a project also. So the whole agenda is now understanding mean, median, mode, then standard deviation, then control charts, the philosophy of control charts, then showing you a DMAC project of basic project of Six Sigma, knowing about basic tools like cause and effect and Pareto analysis, box plots and scatter plots, and then after that, FMEA, failure modes and effects analysis. And after that, I'll show you one project, improvement projects in the hospital. And if time permits, then I'll talk more about lean in hospital. Yeah, lean in hospital. So my team can note down all these topics and keep reminding me. And so again, once again, I'm repeating. First, the basic statistics like mean, median, mode, and standard deviation, because many of you are not exposed to quality. Around, as I remember, around 50-60% of you are never done any quality training before. So for them, I will introduce you to the basic concepts of quality. Then we will advance the concept, and when we'll go to the advanced concepts of after learning cause and effect in Pareto, some box plots, scatter plot, regression. Yeah, so the regression. So generally, I design my program depending on the audience and what you told me, whatever things you told me. Based on that, I'm making my agenda. So then we'll talk about a little bit of advanced tools like regression. And after that, I'll take you through the FMEA. And then after that, I'll show you a project. And after that, if time permits, lean in hospital. We'll talk about lean in hospital also. So my team, please let me know. Please keep reminding me about these topics. Okay, so let us start learning. And I hope you are ready to learn. So let us learn about some basics of quality. So I told you that, okay, let us have some little bit of question and answer. Do you agree with this? Many of you are telling, no, you don't agree. Everything can be measured. Yes. So as you rightly said, everything can be measured. Yeah. Okay. Now, when we talk about data in the hospitals or healthcare, the first reaction is, I do not collect the data. Because I am afraid, no, they don't tell you like that, but we think that This data will be shown in different management meetings and it will reveal my inefficiency. Okay, so that is one reason. Or sometimes we say that we have too much of data. We collect a lot of data, but we don't know what to do with the data and it confuses us. And the third one is the analysis is too complicated. Well, we are in healthcare and we are not experts in mathematics or data analytics. So that is why we don't do anything with that. And then we don't collect the data. No, I think that is the wrong approach. And once you learn about, at least after 1.5 hours, you will not be saying like that. So let us learn about the data, two types of data. So there are two types of data, continuous and attribute, also known as quantitative data and qualitative data. This data is generally expressed in numbers with a decimal, and it always has a unit, like waiting time of the patient, 20.3 minutes. Discharge time of the patient, let us say 5 hours, or let's say 280.2 minutes. And then we have got, let's say, other simple examples would be age, 24.5 years, height, blood pressure. Can you give me some other examples? Yeah, length of stay. Yeah, you're right. Blood sugar, etc. So you got the picture. Now, one of the things are that, see, you have got units and there is a probability of decimal points also. Then comes the attribute data. Yes, so attribute data, some examples. Can you give me some examples of attribute data? Yes, pain. Now, whenever you have an attribute data, you can always create a category. Okay. And in fact, most of you have either attended my training before. So you're giving the correct answers. Okay, good. And then we will have a proportion. So the easiest way to create a category is presence or absence of that attribute. Okay. So pain, you have pain or you don't have pain, or you can have a 1 to 10 scale. So definitely you can monitor the pain over the period of time for a patient and see that how the patient is progressing. Or you can always, yeah, another example, satisfaction. Okay, patient satisfaction. Yeah. Another is pain is okay, mild, moderate, severe. Yeah, you are right. So you have categories for that: pain, mild, moderate, severe. You can mild, uh, moderate, and severe. Okay. Okay, good. And then you can have a count and you have a proportion. Satisfaction. Yes, you can have 5 categories of customer satisfaction, like very, very satisfied, satisfied, neutral, and extremely unhappy and extremely unhappy. So you can just have, if you collected the data on 100 patients, you collected the data and you found that 50 of them are happy, 20 of them are also like satisfied, around 5 of them are neutral, and 15 of them are unhappy, and remaining are extremely unhappy. So this becomes your counts. Yes, you are right. Gender also. So I think you have understood. So many examples you are giving: male, female, 30 males, 20 females, and you cannot have 30.1 male. So that means you cannot have here the decimal place. That means what you are doing here is you are counting. It is discrete data. So it is discrete data. So that is why it will not have a decimal place and it doesn't have a unit. But if I want to express, if you see here, I have mentioned the proportion. So you can express this as a proportion. Like for example, out of 50 people, 30 are males, 20 are females. So in this case, I will say that 0.6 and zero point 0.4. So this is the proportion. So when we deal with attribute data, I will always deal with proportions. And when I deal with continuous data, I will deal with average and standard deviation. So when we talk about data, why are we collecting the data? To get an inference about population. Why am I collecting waiting time? To get a little bit idea what is the average waiting time for all the patients in the hospital. Please remember, all the patients in the hospital. Discharge time. What is my average discharge time of all the patients discharged in the hospital? Age. What is the average age of patients coming to the hospital? What is the average height of patients coming to the hospital or in my ward, or so on and so forth? So we are interested in the population, not in a one sample. Similarly, here also, we are interested in the population. Out of 50 people, 30 are males, 20 are females. Out of 100 people, how many have satisfied, how many are... Now, this is out of 100. But when I'm making a judgment, I'm not making a judgment about the 100 patients. I'm making judgment about 5,000 patients or 50,000 patients, which I am seeing during the whole year. Okay, so when I'm doing let's say here I'm making a proportion of satisfied or dissatisfied patients, I am talking about this proportion is for the larger population. I will not be able to predict very accurately. Do you think that if I collect 100 samples today from your patients during the whole week, and I find that 50 are very, very happy, do you think that if I collected 10,000 people, 10,000 patients from your hospital, which were treated during the whole year, exactly 5,000 will be very, very happy? Do you think like that? Do you think? No. So proportion would be somewhere close to 0.50, isn't it? 50%, yeah, 50%. If I ask you Will it be around 51% also? Is it a possibility of 51% also? Yes or no? Yes. Now, if I ask you, giving the same example, if I ask you, will the happy or satisfied or extremely satisfied patients in this category, will it be 70%? You are saying no. So, based on the sample, you can predict about the population. So when I'm saying that 50.5 is the ratio or 50% is the ratio, I am saying that overall for 10,000, it is not 50%, it is 50% plus minus some value, plus minus some value. We call it as an error. And this can be easily calculated. Now, there is no time to describe that central limit theorem and how to calculate that in this current class, in this present class, but it can be. It's like I'm trying to tell you everything using common sense. So here you will get 50% plus minus some, let's say I will say 3%. Okay. So this is the error in my estimation of the proportion of the population. Because this is what we always mention whenever we are reporting about any parameter using a sample and when we are reporting about the whole population. Okay. Okay, anyway, so let us first learn about the basics. So, have you understood what is continuous data and attribute data? Have you understood what is continuous and any questions here? Now, once you have understood the question about continuous and attribute data, let us understand there are two types of statistics. One is descriptive, it just describes, and one is inferential. Inferential. Okay. Descriptive and inferential. Descriptive means it just describes. It describes that what is the average waiting time of my patients. It describes what is the discharge time of the patient. It describes what is the age of the patient. It just tells you. What is the infection rate? Okay, infection rate, tell me, is it continuous data or attribute data? Infection rate. So please understand, infection is infected, not infected. It is categorical data, okay? So don't think if you are measuring something in percentage, you will think, many times people start thinking that percentage is a continuous data. No, percentage is always proportion. Proportion of a category against another category or against the total samples. So please remember that. There's not like in the limited time I'm trying to explain as much as possible, but just to give you a brief, just to tell you briefly, percentages attribute data, because let's say infection percentage, it is infected, not infected, and then we are calculating the proportion. So that is why it is attribute data. So infection percentage is 1.8%. Now 1.8% infection is a descriptive statistics. But why it is 1.8%? If I want to know that, why it is 1.8%, what is impacting, why the infection is high, how can I control it, what are the factors affecting the infection? If I'm interested in knowing that, I will have to go for inferential statistics. Okay, so let us take some examples. And once you have understood this continuous and attribute data, then you can also understand a lot of analysis as well. First, let us talk about a little bit of descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics, two things are important. What are the two things? One is measure of central tendency, central tendency, measure of central tendencies, which is mean, median, and mode. Median and mode. Okay. Mean is average, median is the midpoint of the data, and mode is most frequently occurring data. I think mean everyone knows. Let me talk about median. So if I give you when you are calculating the median, generally you will arrange the data in the descending order or ascending order. So let me arrange a data in descending order for your quick understanding, and tell me what is the median. So this is 13, 11, 10 is a let's say length of stay. So number of days. So 13, 11, 10, 9, 7, 7, 7, and 5, 4, uh, 3, and 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So when I want to calculate the median, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 7 is the median. Some of you are already giving the answer. Okay. It appears that I should a little bit now go to the complex tools and techniques. Okay. So this is quartile 1, this is quartile 3. I'm dividing the data into 4 quarters. So this is the half. If I 50 percentile, we call it 15 percentile, means midpoint of the data. Okay. And if I further divide the data into a lower half also into 2 equal parts and upper half also 2 equal parts, it becomes quartile, quarters. And if I join the Q1 and Q3, I'm being a little fast. I hope you are able to grasp it. So this is Q1 and Q3. So median is 7, and you have Q1 and Q3, and the maximum is 13. This is the maximum, and this is the minimum. And what I have created is the box plot. We call it as a box plot, which indicates the median, Q1, Q3, and maximum. And if I want to study the variation, range is the simplest measure of variation, that is here 13 minus 2. But there is another measure of variation which is interquartile range. So here also it will be Q3 minus Q1. Now tell me, what is the purpose of median? If I'm happy with mean, what is the purpose of median? Median is not sensitive to outliers. Means if there is an outlier in the data, let's say this data was 130, median will still remain 7. But if this was 130, mean, the average will get affected. So that is why if the data is not normal, if there are outliers in the data, I will use median. Okay, this was just a quick and of course mode is the most frequently occurring data. So 7 is occurring 3 times, so mode will be 7. Okay, then we have standard deviation. Now standard deviation can be easily calculated using Minitab or using Excel sheet. So I'm not going to talk about the formula of standard deviation right now, but in my class I derived the formula of standard deviation. If you are interested in learning about that, or you want to know about the derivation as well, now my team has sent you the yellow belt training, Lean Six Sigma yellow belt training recording. So you can always have a look at it. And another recording of CPHQ training is available to those who would like to watch. So my team will be sending that as well to you a little later on. So don't worry about missing out on anything, and don't try to make notes. It's all available. Recordings are available, so don't have to worry too much about it. So this was mean, median, mode, range, interquartile range, and then standard deviation. Standard deviation can be easily calculated for any data set, and more important than calculating it, you should know the use of it. So any data, let's say if I take a patient uh, waiting time or a discharge time, let's say, if I want to calculate the patient discharge time, and I collect the data. Let's say I have collected the data, and let me show you. Uh, in my session, I also take you through, we give you a software. In fact, in my CPHQ sessions, I give you a software called Minitab. It's we give it to you for free, complimentary, and using that you can quickly understand the concepts. So you are not focused on calculations; you are focused on understanding the concepts. So I will show you uh, using some real data that what is the actual applications of these concepts. So patient waiting time, if I take, and based on whatever data I have collected, I collected some samples. I can easily calculate the average from the data, and I can easily calculate the standard deviation from the data. And then using the Gaussian theorem, Mr. Gauss, in the 19th century, he found that uh, most of the repetitive processes in the universe, and we are talking about the universe, we are not talking about the uh, any organization as such. So hospitals are included in it. All organizations, all the processes in the world, in the universe, repetitive processes in the world, they follow normal distribution. They follow normal distribution. Normal distribution, it is known as normal distribution because it's normal to obtain a normal distribution. So you will have an average, normal distribution, and you will have a standard deviation. So very easily you can use Excel sheet or any software which is available. I'm just using Minitab because the purpose of uh, this session is to give you the concepts. So I have collected the discharge time of patients in minutes. Okay. And once I've collected the discharge time of patients in the minutes, then I can quickly calculate the average and standard deviation. So the average is 303 minutes. Let me take it as 300 minutes. And standard deviation is 25 minutes. So using Gaussian theorem, who said that all the processes in the world, they follow normal distribution. This is a probability distribution curve, and the curve never touches the x-axis. It continues up to plus infinity, and it goes here up to minus infinity. But it appears to touch the axis, this axis, x-axis, at plus 3 times the standard deviation and minus 3 times the standard deviation. So plus 3 times the standard deviation and minus 3 times the standard deviation. So I can easily predict. So if I take a small sample of 30 samples of patients, I can get the average and I can get the standard deviation. And based on this sample, I can predict about the whole population. Please remember, I am talking about the whole population, not the sample. So 99% of the whole population will be lying within minus 3 standard deviation to plus 3 standard deviation. So if I want to calculate it for my patient discharge time, it was 300 minutes average and standard deviation was 25. So I will calculate one standard deviation will be 325, two standard deviation will be 350, and the three standard deviation will be 375 minutes. Here it will be 275 minutes, 250 minutes, and here it will be 225 minutes. Okay, so this is how I will calculate the lower control limit and upper control limit. We call it as lower control limit and upper control limit, LCL and UCL. Every process in your hospital has got control limits. Control limits is also known as voice of process. Voice of process means process, if it had a voice, if your process had a voice, if your discharge uh, process of the process of discharging the patient, were able to speak, what it would speak, it will say the way you have trained the people, the way you are made your policies, the way you are the kind of equipment you are using, all these things are so here LCL and UCL, the way you have structured your whole organization, of course, leadership is responsible for that. You will expect patients to be discharged between 225 to 375, 225 to 375 minutes. These are known as lower control limits and upper control limits. I hope you have understood. Okay. LCL and UCL. Now, this LCL and UCL can be easily calculated for all your processes. Now, if I put this as on the horizontal lines, this LCL and UCL, upper control limit. Here it is 225, here it is 375, and on an average it is 300 minutes. So I will, if I keep monitoring my patients, one patient will take 230 minutes, another will take 235. So it variation will be within 225 to 375 minutes. This is known as natural variation of my process. Natural variation of my process. If I ask Minitab to do this analysis, if I ask Minitab to make a control chart, we call this as a control chart. This is known as control chart. Control chart means lower control limit and upper control limit, LCL and UCL, lower control limit and upper control limit, control charts. Now, I can ask my software to make control charts. See, in CPHQ examination, you will not be asked to make any charts or graphs, but you will be asked questions on the concepts. So if the process is within the lower control limit and upper control limit, we say that, what we say? The process is under control. Process is under common causes. Why are we saying it is under common causes? Because if I ask you why one patient is taking 230 minutes and another patient is taking 350 minutes, please tell me the reason why. I ask you, what will be your answer? You will make a cause and effect diagram, and then here you will write the discharge time. This is the effect. We generally denote it by Y. Why we say this is Y. And the causes here. Why are we, the discharge time of the patient is affected by which factors? We call them as X factors. We use a Ishikawa diagram, fishbone diagram, using man, machine, material. Okay, I'll not write down, I'll just mention it. Man, machine, material, method, measurement, mother nature. So all these things. If I want, I can brainstorm man-related, mankind-related issues, staff not available, skills, motivation. These are affecting the discharge time. Machine, no equipment, old equipment, material-related, no stationery. All these things are mentioned here. And I can, once I have mentioned all the causes related to respective branches, I can always make a cause and effect diagram by just clicking the buttons. Now these softwares are available in plenty. As I said, I'll be giving you one during the training. But you in CPHQ, they don't test you in this software. They don't ask you to make these diagrams. But as I said, if you see the real application, your understanding improves. So here, discharge time delay. These are the X factors. So what you will say, these X factors. So if I'm asking you, tell me why it is 230 to 330. Why? You will say all the causes are acting on my system, commonly acting on my system, and producing this variation. So this variation is natural variation, common cause variation. Common cause variation. All the causes are acting commonly on the system and producing this common cause variation. But suppose I ask you, one patient took, let us say, 500 minutes. And I ask you why he took 500 minutes. Okay, around, let's say, 8 hours. Will you tell me the same thing, that all the causes are acting on my system and producing this variation? No. Then in that case, you will say, give me a special cause. You tell me, well, this particular patient, the relative was not there and he was waiting for his relative to come. Now, this doesn't happen often. It is one of the causes, but this particular, so you will be able to point out. Now, pointing out at the special cause, we call it a special cause. This is known as special cause variation. Special cause variation. Now, special cause variation will be taken care of by the administrator or the manager there, or a nurse, a head nurse, or the person who's present there. They know immediate action, whatever is required for this, they will take. So the operations people will be able to take care of. Like, for example, another can be the insurance papers were not available. Maybe that is the special cause. So immediately for that particular patient, we can always look at the special causes and take care of the things. But for common causes, they are all hidden. For a CPHQ professional, common cause is of more importance, or it is of particular interest. Why? Because common cause requires action of a quality professional. Quality professional will first evaluate. My control limits are 225 to 375. This is the voice of process. But a more important voice is of customer. Customer is telling, I can't wait for so many minutes. I want to be discharged in 100 minutes or maybe 60 minutes. Why 100 minutes? 60 minutes. So this is voice of customer. And I, as a quality professional, have to bring this process from here to somewhere here. Okay. I need to bring it from here to here. For that, you will be using all the tools and techniques which are mentioned and which I showed it to you, which are mentioned here. Tools like, so we have understood mean, standard deviation, correlation. I'll talk about common cause and special cause variation. Okay. Random variation means the common cause variation, right? Okay. So we can always take up improvement project and try to bring the process and give the process new control limits. So the Objective of the quality professional is to get new control limits by changing the DNA of the process. This process is behaving for the last 6 months or 1 year or 2 years between 225 to 375. But now, using quality tools like analysis, correlation, regression, using, of course, a chi-square test or analysis of variance, whatever tool we are using, you will bring it to different limits so that it is able to satisfy the customer. Now tell me, is if I change the process to lower control limit is, let us say, 15 minutes, and the upper control limit is, let's say 30 minutes here also, 30 minutes, and upper control limit is, let us say, uh, okay, so average if I want 60, so here about 45 minutes, and the lower control limit is average becomes 30 and lower control limit is 15 minutes. So if I change my control limits by making some good changes in the process, doing a cause and effect diagram, Pareto analysis, regression analysis, etc., I'm able to get the root causes and validate the root causes. Will the customer be happy? Will the patient be happy? Will the management be happy? Obviously, yes. As you rightly said, yes. So that is the objective of any quality initiative. Okay. So quality professional is not interested in the common causes. Many times managers make a mistake of managing the common causes. They are, let's say, here, you know, one patient got discharged in 230 minutes. And we are saying, well done. In the last 6 months, this is the first time we have discharged patients in just 230 minutes. On an average, we describe discharge in 300 minutes. But if you feel happy, you will find that next patient is being discharged in 300 minutes. Next, again, it's 325 minutes. You might feel that, by appreciating here, people have relaxed and they are now, the discharge time is further increased. Well, it is not due to anything. It is the natural variation. Whatever has gone up, it will come down. Now, at this stage, let us say you hold an emergency meeting saying that patient discharge time is increasing and now need to do something about it. But actually, you don't need to take any action. But even suppose you hold a meeting, after that meeting, the discharge time reduces. You may feel that because of this meeting, the discharge time reduced, but that is not the case. It was a natural variation. So many times the managers, administration managers, they keep managing this process and keep controlling this process, unnecessarily wasting their time and energy to manage the common causes. So this is something which actually should be avoided. So common cause should be treated as common cause and special cause should be treated as special cause. Okay. Now, what to do with this? How do I bring in? By doing how to change this discharge time from here to here by doing some analysis. So some of the basic tools and techniques, as I told you, I'll be describing. So this is common. We have done control charts. We have done a histogram. We have done a cause and effect diagram. Now, after the cause and effect diagram, I have listed down all the possible causes. I can further collect the data and collect the causes, all the possible causes, and apply 80-20 principle, Pareto principle. 80-20 principle means 80% of your problems, 80% of your discharge time delay is due to just 20% of the causes. So suppose you have got 10 causes here listed, only 2 of them are 20% of those 10 causes are responsible for 80% of your problem. So which are those 20%? So in this case, what will happen? You will collect the data. So let's say I told 3 or 4 persons in the hospital, let's say 2, 3 nurses who are uh, part of this discharge process, I am I told them that, well, you know, collect the data for the patients. You know, next time whenever you find there's a delay, assign a reason. They have assigned a reason. So reporting was not accurate, discharge summary delay, pharmacy delay, wrong pharmacy time delay. Many times you see pharmacies appearing, discharge summary not done in time. So they have given that the appropriate cause, whatever they felt, and we can count how many times each cause is appearing, and I can write how many times each cause is appearing. I can get the frequency. Okay, so or I can directly, if I'm using a software, I can directly tell the software to count and make a Pareto chart. So how will I make it? I'll just go to the quality tools, go to Pareto chart, and please tell me, count it and tell me what is the percentage contribution of each of the causes. So reporting not accurate is 27 counts. Percentage contribution is around 30%, 29.7%. So I've got the percentage contribution of each of the causes. And also, if I take the cumulative means the first two causes together is 54, first three causes together is 67, and first four causes together is 75. So in this case, I will say that approximately 80% of the causes, 80% of the total causes are coming under these, 80% of the problems, I would say, are coming appearing due to these four causes. So I will just focus on these four causes as my main causes. Now, this data was collected by some of my colleagues. Sometimes they may have assigned a wrong reason, maybe. So I would like to validate it. I would like to validate whether I am really, whenever I say something is a root cause, whether it is really the root cause. So I collected further data. I collected like reporting accuracy is one of the causes, staff availability is one of the causes, pharmacy time is one of the causes, discharge summary delay was one of the causes. So I collected further data on, let's say, this patient admission number, this was the reporting done accurately, or there was an error in the reporting? Oh, it was correct. Staff available or not available? It was available. Pharmacy time, how much is the time taken to get the medicine? 30 minutes. Discharge summary delay, how much it was? Physician did not write the discharge summary for 100 minutes. And what was the total discharge time? This was 300 minutes. So now what I have done is I have collected the sample with respect to the X factors. These are my X factors, the inputs and the process parameters, and these are the Y, the output discharge time. This is the Y. So what I am doing is I am trying to correlate, is discharge time being affected by, let's say, reporting accuracy? So whenever I have got attribute and continuous combination, when I have got, when I'm trying to, now I'm doing inferential statistics. What is the inferential statistics? Is my discharge time affected by reporting accuracy. This is attribute data, and this is continuous data. So when I am trying to establish relationship between continuous and attribute data, I will use, here is the time, and here I have got categories. Reporting is accurate and reporting is not accurate. So I will make a box plot. When the reporting was accurate, this was the data, this was the discharge time. And when the reporting was not accurate, oh, sorry, it will be reversed generally. So uh, here, when it is accurate, it is less, and when it is not accurate, it is more. So I will say yes, accuracy matters. When it is accurate, discharge time is less. But if this is the case, accurate or not accurate, it is the same. Then I'll say, well, reporting accuracy is not a main culprit here. It's not the root cause. Something else is the root cause. Look somewhere else. So that's how I will do the analysis. So let's say discharge time versus, like, say, reporting accuracy. I will do a box plot, and that's what I'm doing here. I'll do a box plot and see that yes, when reporting is correct, reports are correct, no issues, we were within 300 minutes. But when they were not correct, it is more than 300 minutes. So that means it is affecting. But let us look at the discharge time versus, let us say, staff availability. It is also attribute data. And if I use, again, box plot here for discharge time versus the staff availability, then you will find that, well, staff availability is not that much impacting. So don't think that increasing the staff is going to help you. And move on and then look for some other root cause. Now let us look at discharge time versus discharge summary delay. Is it impacting my time? So when I have got both as continuous data, so here summary, writing the summary sometimes take time. Okay, discharge summary. This is continuous data. So when I'm looking at the continuous data, time versus the here the discharge summary time, right? Discharge summary time. So if I find that data is something like this, well, yes, it is related. More the discharge time, discharge summary time, more is the discharge time. Or it may be something like this also. Well, they are not related. So I am now validating the root causes using data analysis. And then after that, we can also do a hypothesis test. So obviously hypothesis test, there's no time to tell you about too much about hypothesis test, but very briefly, you do a hypothesis test, like instead of box plot, here you will be doing ANOVA. And if the p-value is less than 0.05, I will say it is the root cause. So here p-value will be obviously 0 because it's the root cause. And here p-value will be more than 0.05 because this is not the root cause. Similarly here, if this is the root cause, p-value will be 0 and p-value will be more than 0.05 in case I say that this is the root cause. So if I find that this is not the root cause, the p-value will be greater than 0.05. I'll not go into the details because that requires a little bit of explanation there, but those who are already aware of, maybe I'll just trying to correlate. So I hope you have understood the box plot and scatter plot. Okay. Let's say, if I talk about more about scatter plot, let's say, you can even ask Minitab to generate an equation. Minitab will generate an equation of a straight line. What is the equation of a straight line? It is in the form of y is equal to a plus bx. That means, let us take an example. If you're in your hospital, if you collect the data of experience and age, okay, a person with 0-year experience is, let's say I'm collecting the data of the nurses working in my hospital. 0 years experience nurse is 21 years old. 10 years experience nurse is 31. 20 years experienced nurse 41, 30 years experienced nurses 50. Now, if I plot this data, both are continuous, age and experience. If I plot this data, this is 0, this is 21, this is 31, and this is 41. So at 0, 10, 20, and 30, and I have 21, 31, 41, and 51. So it's a straight line. So if I tell Excel sheet or Minitab or any calculate simple software, if I ask to do a scatter plot, it will give me a scatter plot. And if I ask to create the regression equation, we call this as a regression equation. It will give me a regression equation in this format. So here the Y is the age, and it will tell me A is the value of X, value of Y when the X is 0. So when I have experience of 0, this is 21 plus experience. The B is 1 unit of increases how many units of Y. So here 1 year added to experience is increasing age by 1 year. So it is 1. So this equation will be given by any software if I have the data. So I just have to collect the data. And once I collect the data, after that, I can create an equation. So let me create an equation between discharge time and the, let us say, say discharge summary time, because let us see if I am able to. First, let us do the scatter plot. So scatter plot, let us see if they are related. Yeah, it appears that they are related, appears to be a straight line. So let me do a regression. If p-value is less than 0.05, that means there is a good relation. It's the root cause. Let us see. Discharge time versus continuous predictors is here summary time. Y is discharge time and discharge summary delay is the X factor. So I will create an equation. So discharge time in my hospital is equal to 200 plus almost 1 time discharge summary delay. So 200 minutes are taken by some other processes and remaining time is taken by the discharge summary delay. This equation tells me there is a relationship between the two because p-value is less than 0.05. That means I need to reduce the discharge summary delay. And that's what this hospital did. They solved this problem. They were able to attack the root cause and enhance the discharge summary delay. Reduce the discharge summary delay and further enhance the patient discharge time. Let me show you one more project which has used the similar tools. So this process is about reduction in medicine dispensing time. So here the problem statement is that it is taking 20 minutes to dispense the medicine, and so I will take 20 minutes to I'm taking 20 minutes and then I would like to have it dispensed in 10 minutes. So we form a team and then we do a SIPOC, supplier input process output in customers. And this is a Six Sigma project. So this will also give you a little bit of idea. So when we do a Six Sigma project, we follow DMAC methodology: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So if you see here, DMAIC, define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So in the define phase, we create a project charter. we create a project charter, and we make a team, and we also create some milestones, like we say, I'll complete define phase by 25th August, measure phase by 30th September. So we plan it, and then we also see, are we as per the plan? Sometimes we may not be as per the plan, that's also fine, but we should have a plan. Later on, we can change the plan. That is what PDCA cycle says. First you plan, PDCA, plan, do, check, act. First you plan, then execute the plan. Very rarely you will be as per the plan. So check whether you are acting as per the plan or not, and are you getting what you planned to get. If not, please act on the difference. That is PDCA. So we planned it, and then we created a SIPOC, supplier input, process output, customer. We also mapped the process. So process mapping is also one important tool which we learn in CPHQ, how to map the process, and also how to identify the waste in the process. There are 8 types of waste, or 8 types of waste. We still have some time, so maybe I'll talk briefly about that after this. So we identify the wastes in the process, which is value added and non-value added. And once we have value added and non-value added, uh, identify the non-value added. What is the definition of non-value added? Any step which is not bringing the process closer to the output is a non-value added. Anything which is not done right the first time is not value added. Anything which is a rework is a non-value added. Anything which the customer is not willing to pay for is a non-value added. So we identify how many non-value added steps are there and try to eliminate the non-value added steps. We also do a cause and effect diagram. We also do a control impact matrix, and then we see one by one. So these are the why. What is the why? Medicine dispensing time, encoding time, number of items in the prescription, type of clinic, preparer, and preparation time. These are the X factors which I think are affecting my output. We collected the data, made a data collection plan, and after that, we made the histogram. We also can make the control charts, mapped the process, did a box plot. Profiler is attribute data, and the time is continuous data. Is profiler impacting? Appears to be impacting. The hypothesis test also is done. Hypothesis test is like less than p value is less than 0.05. That means it is affecting. So I have validated statistically that it is affecting. So similarly, this is a scatter plot. Scatter plot is, what is scatter plot? Continuous and continuous number of items and time. Earlier they thought that more the items, more the time taken, but no, number of items is not impacting. Something else is the root cause. Is the clinic root cause? Clinic is attribute data. Did a Pareto on it? While these 2-3 clinics, cardiology, spinal clinic, and neurology, there the medicine dispensing time is very high. So let us focus there. Similarly, the testing is done, and then we know that these are the X factors: encoding speed of the encoder, type of clinic, and issuing speed of the issuer. These are the 3 main causes, and for them we have chosen some solutions. Different types of solutions are available. Out of that, we have chosen those solutions using the solution selection matrix and X factors. Each X factor we have chosen solutions using different techniques, which of course you learn in the CPHQ trainings. And then finally you make a control chart before and after. So before, this is how you're performing, and afterwards this is how you can see that there is a clear statistically significant difference between the two, which can be validated using 2T tests. So p-value of 2T test gives you 0. So that means there is a statistical improvement in the process. So this is all, of course, I was not able to, in short time, I can't teach you all the tools and techniques. But if you are interested in joining my sessions, CPHQ sessions, you can always join. you're most welcome to join. My team will be telling you the dates and fees, etc. I'll not spend time in talking about that here. The purpose of this session is to give you a little bit of idea and about the tools. I also told you that I will talk about the 7 wastes in hospitals. So let me very briefly talk about it. And if time permits and still time is there, I'll show you one FME, failure modes and effects analysis. So if I take the example of, yeah. So very briefly, let me give you a, so there are a lot of hidden waste in our hospitals, right? Overpricing, overtime, overstaffing. So Uh, if I take a CBC blood test processing time, looking at the definition of value added and non value added, anything which is not bringing the input closer to the output is a non value added. So you will be surprised to know that walking, registration, walking again is all non value added. Only 2 steps are value added: drawing the blood and blood test processing. These are the 2 value-added steps in the whole process. Okay, so we try to reduce. We are not saying that you eliminate all the non-value-added activities. Try to reduce them as much as possible, and if you can eliminate, why not? Okay, so another example, in hospitals, 80% of the nurse calls are housekeeping in nature. My bed is not okay. My pillow is not good. All these things. This is waste of intelligence, waste of human intelligence. So these are all considered as 7 or 8 wastes. So we talk about like waste of motion, waste of there are 7 wastes. So you can remember that using waste of intelligence, waste of waiting time, transportation, movement, inventory, etc. So, mm, all these can be removed. So when you attack the waste and use those processes and especially lean improvement techniques, lean and Six Sigma improvement techniques, you could see that you could double the cardiology lab capacity from 8 to 16. You can reduce the diagnosis to exam time from 2000 minutes to 64 minutes. You can cut admission from 17 minutes to 5 minutes and reduce the signatures or steps from 18 to 12. In fact, you can reduce further also. So these are some case studies and examples which are here. And ultimately, the idea is to remove as much of waste in the hospital processes to create value. So typical patient flow, value added is depicted as the pillar, and here we have the non-value at time. So there's a method of doing a value stream mapping. But let me show you a little examples of waste. So unnecessary process or motion, unnecessary waiting time, unnecessary transportation, uh, errors, unnecessary stocks, it's inventory. So mistakes, errors, or all defects are all waste. Okay. So yeah, so there are lots of wastes. So, like on a funny note, cost of 5 minute MD walk is $6, or walk to elevator 1 minute, elevator wait 3 minutes. So we calculate the waste. You can see that uh, you know cost of elevator wait per day per nurse is $12, and multiplied by 100 nurses, you can imagine how much money is wasted. Lab and pharmacy on second floor, radiation equipment on ground floor, bring them to the same floor, lot of waste of motion will be reduced. Okay, so I think just wanted to show you these things, glimpses of those tools and techniques. I'll be happy to conduct the training program for you, and please join in. Join our training courses. My team will be giving you the details if you are interested. Uh, as you are uh, let me answer your questions one by one. Yeah, one more thing. Yeah, FMEA. Okay, FMEA is a failure modes and effects analysis process where you imagine how you will fail. So let me show you a FMEA done on a patient fall. We wanted to reduce the number of uh, patient falls. So typically FMEA is you imagine step by step, you imagine how your process will fail. So uh, the process is here, the patient treatment process. And this sheet, FME sheet, is available on Google. You can just download it. It's a freely available sheet. And you can also quickly do an FMEA. My team will send you one video where I have described the FMEA in detail. I've taken an example. I've taken a simple day-to-day example in that. So my team will send you the video link. You can have a look at it. And it is also this videos. All the videos are put in on our Anexas channel. So you can subscribe to our Anexas YouTube channel, and you'll get all lots of material, related to quality. So we post only quality related material. We don't post anything else. So you will be getting to know lots of tools and techniques. You can study from there as well. Yeah, so here pediatric patient handling. So in the pediatric ward, this is my process steps. What is the failure mode? Patients are falling down. What is the effect of that? Injury. Now I rate on 1 to 10 rating. This is known as severity rating. 10 means very severe, 1 means very less. So I'm giving is 8 as the severity rating of injury to the patients when they fall down. What are the potential causes of patient falling down? What are the potential causes of patient falling down? Lack of awareness of family, lack of awareness staff, wet floor, medication, all these things. And then I go to the occurrence ratings. Occurrence ratings means, uh, you know, 1 means never it occurs, and 10 means every time it occurs. So here it is 7. Lack of awareness is more frequently occurring. Lack of awareness, well, I have trained all my staff, it is not occurring frequently. So we have given the ratings here. And then, of course, current controls. What are the current controls I have today? So potential causes, lack of awareness of family, potential. Today, I'm educating the parents. But is it really working? Is it an effective control? If it is not an effective control, it will have a higher rating. Higher rating is always bad, isn't it? So severity, occurrence, and detection rating, all the 3 ratings I'll be multiplying and getting my risk priority number. And highest risk priority number indicates there is a huge risk of process failure, and I will suggest, I will take an action, and I'll give a recommendation there. So that was very briefly FMEA. But if you're interested, there is an FMEA detail. I've taught FMEA in that video, and I think Naveen has just posted that video. You can always join the uh, our Anexas YouTube channel. Also, you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I'm by the name of Amitabh Saxena. So you can always connect with me on LinkedIn, and I keep posting on my LinkedIn as well. So I'll accept the uh, invitations, all the invites in the next half an hour. And my team will talk about all the related, if you're interested in attending our CPHQ sessions, my team will be sending out you the details. Okay, so if there is no other question, then I will say goodbye to everyone, and thanks a lot.